that being said, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for this. I enjoyed this, and talk to you soon. And we're transiting here. And
You know that, and I'll just end
Michael,
by
if you want, you can also stay in line.
Yeah, I'll stay on the line. I'll definitely listen in. I'll just say the saddest part about not being in person is that I don't get your chocolate thank you gift.
Soccer cake. I know. That's why you can't download Experience. You have to have the chocolate cake in real.
Exactly. Right. All right.
Patrick,
Thank you, everyone. Please email me anything. Hopefully, I've given one tidbit of information that's meaningful for you.
Wonderful.
Look forward to continuing the conversation. Cheers.
We have Patrick and Nick already here. When we talk about retail of the future, I see 4 concepts, 4 strategies to go. One of which is understanding that retail is a place where a lot of information is generated. And this is information that customers produce and the industry is highly passionate about. And b8ta is around, I know it must have started during the course of the tours, because I can remember the first store in Palo Alto, and we're so excited because it was not only a really cool retail concept, it was also stacked of really, really cool products. And we have b8ta here in the group. I don't know about all of the others, but we have b8ta in the group specifically focused on retail. He runs in a sports chain. He runs the rent part for Austria. And we just had a conversation earlier. So your 9 a.m., when it was our 9 a.m., we had a conversation about where retail is going. So he's specifically and particularly excited about that conversation. I don't know where to pass, to Nick or to Patrick. I'm excited to have you both here. Thank you so much for the little wait. And that being said, I pass the virtual stage to you guys. And let me unmute y'all.
Okay, I'll definitely start it off with it. I'm not sure if Katrina might be on as well, but Steph, our general manager from Boston, is on as well. So you have quite a few people on to help out with this virtual tour of b8ta and going over what we do and how we do it. So I figured I'd start off with an introduction. My name's Patrick. I'm the general manager of the Mission Bay location in San Francisco. It's right near the Chase Center, the new Warriors Arena. And I've been with the company for 5 months. I have a background with Best Buy before going into the fitness industry. We have Steph, and Steph, if you wanted to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, yeah, so I'm Stefan. You also hear Steph. I manage the Boston location for b8ta, but have been working at b8ta for just the other day was my 2-year mark, and I've been in a few of our stores around the country helping out, so I'm glad to be here.
And then Nick is our market manager, and I'm sure, I know he's done many of these tours, not quite like this one, I'm sure, but he's done many of these tours, so introduce himself.
Hi guys, my name is Nick Romero. I was formerly the general manager of our San Francisco flagship in Hayes Valley. Now the West Coast regional for b8ta, so I oversee about 8 stores. And have been with the company coming up on 3 years now, so it's been a while.
Cool. And kind of how I wanted to kick this off is I got some notes this morning about what kind of looking for in this presentation, and so we'll put some videos and some notes together to go over it, but I would love to hear an introduction from some people of who they are and what they're looking for, and then we can kind of get started and tell you about b8ta, what we do, how it pertains to what we're talking about, and just kind of add in a few videos and different things to make sure you have a big picture of what we're doing. It's a little bit different than being in the store and being able to show you each individual things. So we're going to do our best to show you exactly the experience that we try and give our retailer customers, as well as our partners, which are our other customers that we have.
And I would suggest that I would like to hear b8ta first, because he is kind of the focus for the program. I would say is directly targeting to this meeting here, because it's so much on spot with his business. Whoever wants to add from the business perspective or personal perspective, please add introducing yourself. Other than that, it's also okay if you just pass the baton and give full attention to the b8ta guys to take maximum advantage of the time we have together. That being said, b8ta, please.
Hey guys, from b8ta. I'm really curious what's going on here. I'm working for a sporting goods chain called Intersport here in Austria. I'm responsible for our shops in the Alps, where it's about 180 shops. We're doing about 200 million euro turnover, and we sell sporting goods, and we rent out sporting goods for tourism. People come into the Alps to go skiing or to go biking, and we're kind of old-fashioned. You know, we buy products and we sell products. We're in business for more than 50 years. We have good connections to customers, but as I said, we're old-fashioned. We're not. There's some revenue streams that I'm looking forward to hear from you guys, how you are doing this, that we haven't looked at any time before. So that's actually why I'm here. I have a lot of questions in my head. I sent some out to Nikki. Yeah, maybe we can ask them afterwards.
I have all the questions and I have answers for them all, so I'm ready for you for all of those. With that, I read them this morning and I did the best I can. I'll probably have Nick answer some of the stuff, add in some stuff that I left out, but I definitely have the list up of all your questions. But did anybody else want to introduce themselves, or shall I get into kind of the history of b8ta and what we do?
Well, I would. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I would be interested in what you're thinking about the retail, especially about the actual situation, and will it change now?
I mean, I think it has to change. Already we have started, like, we're doing a virtual tour right now. We do mini tours within our stores, especially in the Bay Area, with different CEO groups, different tour groups, different types of groups to show what our business model is, and also the different products that we have, because we have such unique products. We have large brands and we also have Kickstarter and smaller brands that we have. And the way our stores are set up is that the whole purpose of it is that you get an experience where you get to play with the product, you get to utilize the product, you get to use it and see it, if you like it, what you like about it. There's a dashboard that explains everything on it, and you are also able to ask our employees, who are trained on every specific product by that partner, about that product. So you get a really, really good view of what that product is. To say we're not going to change during this time, I would absolutely say that there will definitely be changes. One of the things that we've already implemented on our website as we're going through this right now is we have virtual appointments. So people can go online and request an appointment, and one of our general managers will do a virtual appointment with the product for 30 minutes and show them the product and explain to them the product and give them as much detail as they possibly can to make sure that they're still getting a good, well-rounded experience for that product. And that kind of sidelines into what b8ta does, right? Is we were founded in 2015 by some people that worked at Nest, and one of the things that they saw while they were trying to get their products into retailers is, how do we get our product into a retailer, and how do we get employees to know what that product is, where is the placement for that product, and how are we going to get our product known with it? Because, and I take that from personal experience, because during the time that Nest came out, I was at Best Buy, and I literally got these products and I was like, do I put them in my phone area? Do I put them in my home theater area? Do I put them into my home appliance area? Because I'm not sure which area this goes to, and how am I going to get all of my employees trained on that product so that people understand how it works and how they can utilize it and how that can make their life easier for it. So the founders of our company brought together this retail as a service so that we can explain each product and show what the uses are for that product and see if that meets that customer's needs, right? So that's kind of the foundation of our business. Now there's different parts of our business, and I'll just get more into it. Is our business is based on partnerships. The partners pay for the space that they have. The money that comes into us is not something that we take, that goes directly back to those partners with it. So our job is to demo each product. With that demo, each employee, which we call beta testers, are trained on all of the products. And so they know about all the products and they can demo the products, and their job is to get that product into their hands. Not only that, there is a dashboard next to each product which the partner controls. So they control the pricing, they control what's the content that is on there, so that they can have videos on there, they can have specs on there, they can have all kinds of different things that are on that product so that they can explain the product the way they want it to be explained. With that being said, there is also another aspect of the business where you get analytics from us of impressions, of amount of time people are interacting with the products, and we give direct feedback back to our partners about that product. So if there's something that people like, we'll let them know. If there's something that people don't like, we'll let them know. Let's say we have a product that's getting quite a few returns. We're going to put notes in every single return, so that goes directly back to the partner, so that they have that feedback, so they know some of the issues that are within that partner with it.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes
We have people from a business school here. So Frederick and Anders, let me just unmute you guys so you don't have to bother about that. I guess when I think about business school, there is probably something that goes into product development that might be interesting for you. So yeah, I'm just kind of segueing.
So in which part of the development process do you start to introduce the product at your store? Is it like in the late end, or is it earlier in the prototype phase?
Could you repeat the question one more time?
I can answer, Patrick. It's definitely going to be later stage. We have lots and lots of companies that have come to us in early stages where they're still prototyping. It might still be in a crowdfunding phase. We don't typically carry those products. We did very, very early on in our company's history. We don't really anymore because obviously we just, customers who want to buy find it frustrating to, really get invested in a product and then realize it's not even, it doesn't even exist yet, or may not even exist. So typically we do that later stage. So one of the requirements that has been in place for our partners has been that they do have to have a finished product or a very nearly finished product. And, that can range from smaller companies that, again, are just coming out of a crowdfunding campaign, small startups, all the way up to, big enterprise level partners.
And I would suggest to change gear and leave it to you guys for the narrative for now. And I'm sure that there are some questions to raise and some questions that might be answered by your introduction to what b8ta actually is and how the process is. And I would suggest that we give you this as a virtual stage right now, and then closer to the end of the session, we go back to questions.
Sure.
If that's cool. Okay.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Absolutely. So you know what? I'm gonna show a couple of videos just to kind of give you an idea of it gives you more of what it looks like in the store and what we do, and then give you an overall picture of what it is, if you don't mind. So give me one quick second, okay? So the first one that I'm going to show and make sure
Hi, I'm Stephen Dix. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing and General Manager for NeoLab Convergence, manufacturer and developer of the Neo Smart Pen and associated technologies. So I've been in the retail business for most of my working life, dealing with all kinds of different channels, big box, specialty, etc. b8ta has really brought a refreshing change, if you will, to the retail environment. Where everyone says retail is dead, they are, I think, proving every day that it is certainly not. Working with the b8ta corporate staff, the b8ta testers, the merchandise managers, the general managers, is just a fantastic experience for a vendor. Almost every store I walk into, cold, they don't know I'm coming, and nearly always there's somebody being demonstrated our product. It amazes me every time. I almost think it's set up, but it's not. It's customers, they see it, they gravitate to it, and it's a natural. They know how to use a pen, so they pick it up, use it, and see the benefits. If you can go somewhere and physically touch, feel, and use, you get it. You see what it does, and you can make a decision kind of on the spot. Having this environment where somebody can come in 7 days a week around the country and physically touch and play and use is the greatest benefit of all.
So that's an idea of one of the partners that has been with us from the beginning that has been very successful and had their brand grow with us. And you can kind of see the interaction that that people have with their product. And it's so much different than other retailers where people are actually being able to use and see the functionality of the product with a beta tester there, helping them and showing them the different features that get them to see if this product meets the needs. So that Neo Smart Pen is a great thing. It has a camera on it and coding on paper, so you can write down notes and then you can store it in your iPad, in your cloud, in your different areas. It will translate it. It will do all kinds of different things for you. So if you're at school or at a meeting, it's a great product to have, and it's one of our most popular products. The second video that I will show, and then we'll get more into the stuff, is I kind of want to show a video of my store and what a part-time beta tester does, and how he shows a product out, and kind of the difference makers that we are in retail. So give me 1 second for that one.
This is Cody from b8ta Mission Bay, and this is b8ta Unboxed. I'm here with Dustin, and we're going to take a look at AeroPex by Aftershocks. They're wireless Bluetooth bone conduction headphones, and essentially that means that they deliver audio signals to your brain via your jaw and cheekbones rather than through your ears. So the two bulbs are going to sit right in front of your ears. Let's go ahead and try out a song. Oh yeah, here. Go ahead and plug up your ears. You'll notice that because they use bone conduction technology, they're not actually damaging your ear hairs.
It's really loud and clear.
Is there any outdoor activities that you like doing?
Yeah, I'm a big mountain biker, and I also do a good bit of biking for my commute every day as well.
So that'll be perfect. It helps keep you safe by keeping you aware of your surroundings while letting you enjoy your favorite music. Come visit us at b8ta Mission Bay to try out our AeroPex and all of our other amazing products.
Hey,
So those are just a couple of videos to kind of show what the interactions look like within the store and the things that we offer that I think other retailers aren't able to offer, with the demonstration of how the product works, getting it into people's hands, and for them to be able to try it out and see if that works as something that they would want to use. Any questions so far? Or anything that you wanted to add, Steph?
Yeah, I think I want to add as well, you know, b8ta still, you know, just around like 5 years, still relatively new as a company. And I think one thing that's really helped us grow and find success is that at every level within our organization, people have the ability to contribute in really different ways and really apply their own talents and skills to help grow the company. Everybody that works in our organization is actually given the option to be a shareholder and really has the opportunity to really invest themselves in it. And so like Cody, for instance, in this video, he's a part-time retail associate, but he's, you know, has some experience working, you know, like on stages, and kind of was able to, you know, apply himself this way. And, you know, create this marketing content for us. And a lot of the things that you'll see when you go into b8ta, or when you go onto our website even, that you might find interesting or a unique way to approach different like problems or unique solutions, really start from the ground up. And because everybody has that voice, it's really allowed us to, you know, put our heads together and come up with these different ideas. And so like even now, if you were like to go onto our Instagram, you'll see like videos or photos that were taken from people from all over our organization and all over the country, which is, you know, you can see that benefit of you know, instead of hiring a marketing firm or, you know, photographers all over the country to do all of this, we're really leveraging the talent that we already have in-house.
And to add to that, one of the questions that was on the email that I got this morning was it was about what the difference maker is, or what it is. And I think Nick probably would agree. I think what makes us different and what makes us unique, and we're learning this more and more each day, is our retail staff. We have a retail staff. First of all, our leadership treats our retail staff so well, which is unusual in the retail world, but they treat them so well. And combined with that, we have such engaged b8ta testers and such engaged employees that have so much knowledge and so much engagement on the products that every day I'm learning from them. They know more about the products than I do. They're teaching me every day about these products and helping me be able to translate that to any customers that come in. So I think like the real differentiator and the real thing to learn is you are as good as your staff is, and empowering your staff and giving Cody he loved doing this content, and he did such a great job with it, that's what makes the difference. And those types of presentation makes a partner successful. And that's why the partner decides to join b8ta, right? Is to get their product out there, to get it branded, to get it marketed. They want the impressions, they want the analytics, and they want the sales. But what that comes from is that kind of engagement that you see there. Any questions so far, or would you like to hear a little bit of our history?
I think the history is always interesting. I would also, from a previous meeting, I thought was very interesting, the onboarding process. So kind of how do you start interacting with the industry? Because what you deliver to the customer is very well-skilled people who know what's behind the product. But what you deliver to the industry is data and information. So that's something that's highly relevant for them for future product decisions. And future product decisions might mean change the product, might mean discontinue. Very often it's cheaper to discontinue than trying to force a product into a market, which is, I think, one of the big benefits of testing at b8ta, that you learn if there's actually a market, what you're trying to offer to the world. So how's that first interaction, and what's the momentum where you say, okay, tell me what you want to do, or versus, no, you don't tell me, I know what I have to do to return the answers that you're waiting for. So how's that interaction between you and the industry?
I can speak to that a little bit.
I was going to ask you too, Nick.
So we have a partnerships team that actually does the interactions with potential partners that are coming into the business or want to come into the business. Our partnerships team is vetting requests from companies all over the world. They are reaching out. A lot of companies reach out to us proactively, but we are working with a lot of different types of industries to follow leads. We get a lot of referrals from partners who are already in store, who recommend colleagues who have a product or something that they'd like to try out, or they've had a good experience with b8ta and want to try that out with us. Come in that way as well. But to Nikki's point, about life cycle of products, things like that. I mean, it's very, very important, the value that b8ta brings to these companies, because there's been examples of products where maybe we identified something very early on that was maybe a supply chain issue for that company. There might have been it might be a product that everybody really responds to. We're selling lots of them, and then they're being returned very quickly. So in a traditional retail setup where you are selling your product to someone else wholesale, they are reselling the product, you're not really getting a lot of the anecdotal feedback around the product. And feedback is one of the things that we are the best at providing. So what we're able to do is provide real-time feedback very quickly to the partner via our partnerships team, via different initiatives with surveys and things that we're able to do with our partners, to get them feedback on the product. If we're seeing a large amount of returns, for example, we can, we have the ability to track that very quickly in real time, get that to our partnerships person who is in contact with that partner, and they can let them know, hey, we're having a lot of returns because this one piece keeps breaking off, or customers are identifying this flaw in the design, or whatever it is. So it gives them a very early stage warning signal on how to intervene to kind of fix those problems. And in some cases, it might just be they have some part of the product or a market for the product that is completely unexpected. We have partnership teams that work with partners who are sometimes very specific about where they want to go in. I want to just be in the San Francisco Bay Area, or I just want to be in New York stores. But a lot of times what they're doing is providing a lot of information to these partners around other markets that they might not be familiar with, that might actually be really great for them. So sometimes it's that as well, getting them to try out a different market with b8ta. We have some partners that are just in a few stores or in certain markets, and then we have some that are like Neopen. That was the video that Patrick showed, where it's a partner that's in pretty much every one of our locations because it's such a widely popular product. But I guess what this boils down to is, in a lot of cases, we have these companies that are experts in their own product. They obviously know their industry. They know their products inside and out. What they are struggling with is the concept of retail. How do I sell in the real world to people? They're used to selling through their websites and via virtual platforms. And so getting it into people's hands, literally, is what we do. And so they look to us to be the retail experts. And so that's where we're able to intervene to give them not only the physical space, but the product knowledge that our team members can provide to customers in real time. And that's just something so unique and really provides such a different experience from what you would see in a big box retailer or elsewhere.
Okay, interesting. Change of gears. I'm that generation that grew up loving F.O. Schwartz, but the parents would never buy me something because it was too expensive. So then I grew older, got my own children, and thought, oh, now I can go to F.O. Schwartz and I can make possible for them what was always banned for me and have this huge enjoyment. But in the meantime, this strange company called Toys R Us acquired F.O. Schwarz, and everything went bellies up.
Yeah.
And now you have this kind of Phoenix story where you acquired Toys R Us and you're rebuilding that company, which is kind of interesting to me because selling toys is retail at its very old stage, and what you're doing is very innovative in modern retail. How do you tap into this world, and how do you make selling toys better than Toys R Us?
I mean, the focus has always been innovation, whether it's toys, whether it's fitness products, whether it's audio, video, whatever b8ta has been involved in. So the innovation aspect is really key. And then the customer experience, really. We've always taken a different approach from, sort of traditional retail, which is very hands-off and very automated, to making the experience very personal, making the experience very easy and understandable. b8ta's, bread and butter has always been technology, and making technology accessible and understandable for people. So, being able to translate that to something like Toys R Us, which, we helped relaunch in the US, was such a big step because we're doing the same thing in that arena as well. Those stores are bigger than our b8ta stores are traditionally, but it's a different category of product. They're toys, but the model is so different. People will have, I'm not sure what it's like in other countries, but I know in the US, Toys R Us has been a very beloved company for a long time. People were very sad to see it go away. So people were very excited when we announced that, it was coming back. So our focus in reopening those was to make sure that the experience was going to be very inviting, and a smaller, more curated experience rather than just, a huge warehouse of toys, that you're just kind of going into and just, this kind of, very anonymous experience. So making the experience personal, making the experience digestible, and then backing all that up with tons and tons of product knowledge, and a staff that's very engaged is what's really made the huge difference there.
I'm excited about that story as well.
But isn't it, sorry to jump in here, but isn't it when you mentioned the Toys R Us, it's the kind of new Hamleys concept. I don't know if you guys know Hamleys. In London, I don't know if it's Regent Street, but and where the people stand there and the employees, they have this flyer and always coming back and giving it to the kids in the hand. So that's what I thought when I saw the video of b8ta. It's this kind of when the gadget is given into my hand. And when Nick was saying that to make it personal and to give it into the hand of the customer, that's what I thought of Hamleys. So I think there's a perfect fit with Toys R Us.
Sure. Yeah. And, when we're talking about partners that are smaller especially, they have such a passion for their product, and it is so personal to them that they really want to convey that same experience to the customer. How do you go from, something that is so personal to you, whether it's, 1,000 units or 10,000 units, which is still relatively small in the grand scale of things, to getting that in front of people and getting them just as excited about the product as you are. And so that's always been our passion, is, really understanding our partner, making sure that we are able to translate that same level of excitement about the product to customers that come in the store and are seeing it for the first time. I mean, the comparison we always really make a lot of times is just that, you'll have people who go into a big box retailer like Best Buy. There is a wide breadth of product there, but there's not a lot of engagement there. And engagement is really the key that we have found to be so different in our model. Meeting people at a very, friendly and easygoing pace to make it easy to understand, to make it less scary. And when you talk about technology, I think a lot of people are just very intimidated by it. In the Bay Area, it's, people use lots of smart devices. People are using Alexa and Google Home and lots of different, pieces of technology in their everyday lives, and it's just sort of normal. But you go to a lot of other places in the country, a lot of other places in the world, and that's just not the case. And so bringing that same level of excitement around innovation and integration into everybody's daily lives is really the goal. You know, whether it's through an audio video product or a fitness product or something for your kids or your pets. There's just all this great innovation just coming out all the time in so many different ways. And so that's always been our mission, whether it's, you know, toys or tech products, to really just bring that to people in a very accessible way.
And if I could add one thing on to that is my experience of it is Nick is exactly right. And when people walk into retail shops is usually the first answer is no, just looking on it, and is our beta testers and our model is an open model of open-ended questions and really engaging and getting them involved and then coming back to them to get their hands on the devices. And that opens up everything else, because that first part is technology can be intimidating, maybe not so much in the Bay Area, but all across the US is like, people are scared. They're like, do I touch this? Do I not touch it? But once we break down that wall and they're touching it and they're using it, it makes it such a better interaction, and it makes it so much better for that partner because they actually get to see how that device works and how that could work in their life. And I think that's a real big differentiator for b8ta as a whole.
I have one question. So you have, just imagine a scenario that you're visiting b8ta in Austria and you're coming to his stores to better understand how would the world of Intersport look through the glasses of b8ta. What would be the questions that you would ask b8ta?
Sorry, the audio went out for me in the last part of your question. Say that again.
I said, what would be the question that you would ask b8ta? What would be the questions that you would ask b8ta to better understand where he's at in his business?
Got it. I mean, you know, again, our partnerships team is having more of these interactions on the retail side, but I do know that, you know, we are individualizing a lot of these conversations. So it's not sort of a templatized, you know, one size fits all. You know, Google is going to be very different from Neopen. So understanding sort of what the objectives are. We have some partners that are going to just be focused on the experience and getting people's responses. So they just want the feedback. They don't really have a ton of interest in sales. In some cases they might, you know, we do have plenty of these in store as well, where we don't even sell their product. We're a demo only platform for them. So they actually prefer to transact with the customers directly. What they want from us is to be able to provide that education, the demonstration to the customer and get feedback. And then we do have product partners that are very involved in wanting sales and tracking all of that. You know, b8ta does provide a lot of good ROI for partners around both ends of that spectrum. But, you know, if you're a partner that is, you know, hyper focused on volume, b8ta's probably not going to be your only outlet. In fact, a lot of partners do have, we're not exclusive, so they will be in our store. They might be in a few other stores or retailers, and they might just, you know, they might be selling online. Again, our value add for them is not volume sales. Our value add for them is experience, you know, the experiential retail model, and making sure that people come in and have a great interaction with their product, tell other people about it, bring them in. And in fact, that's something that we see on a regular basis in a lot of our stores, is people coming in week after week with family members, with friends visiting, with, you know, colleagues, whoever, and just, you know, oh, yeah, I got to show you this store, you know. And so, you know, one of the parts of the conversation we have with customers in stores all the time is, you know, have you been into a b8ta store before? And a lot of times people have, and a lot of times we hear from people, I've been, but this is their first time. and they'll have a whole group of new people bringing them into our stores. So it's expanding the audience, expanding the understanding, the accessibility, and that works obviously really well for small partners. But even when you think about big partners like Google, who's been in our stores, here's a company that's so big that they have trouble scaling down customer experience. They can put together slick marketing, they can put together beautiful commercials, but when it comes to just having real-time interaction with customers, they're challenged in that sense. And so it really helps enterprise level partners like that to be able to have a smaller, more accessible footprint for people to go in and experience your product and have that education to back it up.
I was also looking into this direction as far as I can remember, and correct me if I got that wrong last time. You actually also helping people building up the stores. So basically there's a lot of technology involved as well. There's a lot of, how does the back end of all of this?
Yes, so metrics are a big part of what we track and provide as value to the partners as well. Just as a really high-level overview, I mean, we have very generalized tracking software that is able to, sort of determine how many people go buy a product, if they interact with the product, if they get a demonstration, things like that. So our partners all have a digital dashboard that provides them with all those metrics. And so when you're, again, speaking about a small partner, you never, ever have access to that. So it really gives them a lot of value in that way. And even for larger partners, it's giving them an understanding of sort of the level of interest in their product. If, again, talking about Google as an example, are you having a lot of people actually stop and look at the product? And then, we supplement these things with in-store surveys, with lots of customer interaction where we're getting feedback for the partners to be able to get that. Beyond just that qualitative stuff, the partners also have the ability to reach out to our stores via our platform, so they can get really immediate answers about questions, like, hey, we sold a whole bunch this weekend, what happened? Or we saw a bunch of returns this weekend, what happened? They can reach out and get answers about those things really quickly, usually within 24 hours in most cases. So it's pretty unheard of in the industry to be able to have that level of interaction on a store level. And all of our partners have that ability through our platform.
What I actually meant was, so for example, b8ta, they have their 190 stores, outlets, branches. Would you go there and say, okay, this is how the store should look like. This is where you put the products. This is where you put technology.
I see. Like you're speaking of the merchandising aspect.
Yes.
Got it. So merchandising in general is pretty democratized in our stores. We don't do a lot of big flashy, POP displays and banners and things.
No,
like
sorry,
that.
I meant not the b8ta store, but an existing Intersport store, for example. Would you go there and consult them on how the store should be remodeled to deliver the same experience for customers, but also for the industry?
I don't know if we would do that. I mean, it's b8ta's value has always been in bringing our stores to be the platform for stores that don't, or products that don't have a place in the real world yet, or are very limited in their exposure. We have the right type of customer and we have the right type of environment to showcase those things. So, b8ta stores may be a completely different concept. I mean, when I think of sporting goods stores, I think of a lot of layers. I think of a lot of departments. There's a lot of nuance, a lot of ways to show those things off. You've got a variety of things from equipment to clothing to, lots of different categories. So things like that tend to really be case by case basis. We don't really, we've tried out a few experiments in the past where b8ta has built out a retail concept for a partner and used our platform physically as well as through software to create the same kind of vibe. It was okay. I just don't think it's, I think the lesson we really learned from that was that there really is not a one size fits all when it comes to that. b8ta stores have a very specific look and feel for the very reason that is our brand, if you will. b8ta's brand for his stores are probably very, very different from ours. But again, when you're speaking about a retailer that has products that have more of an appeal to customers that need to go get it, and then a store like b8ta that has products that, maybe some people need those, but a lot of times it's want stuff, and it's things that are sort of innovative. So you're talking about products that are kind of on the end of the spectrum that most people have not seen yet, or have maybe only seen online or on social media or things like that. And so they haven't had that real-time experience. You're not talking about going in to see a basketball, which everybody has seen. You're talking about going in to see some brand new type of product that maybe you've never seen, or even sometimes a category of product that you've never seen. So it's a really different experience. It's kind of apples and oranges.
The only thing that I could think of, Nick, with that is if there was a different product line that was coming out, or a different technology that was coming out that you wanted to section off and do differently and market differently because knowledge was important versus the typical products that you sell. So a whole new brand, a whole new line of different stuff, that's something that could use sort of a b8ta model.
Yeah. And hi, I'm sorry, I don't have my camera on at the moment, but I'm Katrina. I'm the director of stores. And I wanted to jump in because I think your question is interesting. But if you asked us to consult in a store, we probably wouldn't start with your merchandising. We would start with your people and what your training looks like and what your hiring strategies are. Because really and truly, that is the differentiator to me of b8ta. It's less about the products and more about how we approach those products and how we engage with our team members. So I think that is probably where we would start if we were walking into a store fresh, rather than the visual merchandising piece. And then if we moved into the merchandising piece, it would be, eliminate your stack outs and your sort of traditional pop advertising that you have inside of the stores, and focus more on getting product out of the box and into people's hands. That's kind of the standard for b8ta, but the rest of it is really the people.
Absolutely.
I feel like the other thing, if we can just hear
Thanks,
from everybody
Katrina.
from b8ta right now. But
I can ask one more question regarding the tracking. Is this tracking that you did for yourself, or is that a product anybody can buy?
Oh, the tracking that we have available in the store, like the demographics that we're providing, is we partner with a company called Retail Next, and it's all done through their platform.
But we've looped into our dashboard in a unique way.
Thank you.
One thing too that I would also add, so like the big thing too that makes the b8ta model unique, or retail as a service unique, is if we're thinking about like a really large company like Intersport, how often are your vendors or the brands that you're working with able to engage directly with the stores to create incredible experiences on their own terms? And that's really what we've done as well with our stores. Is every product that you see in a b8ta store is directly connected to the product maker, who's able to actually engage and reach out and interact with the store staff individually, or on a larger level through our partnership success managers. And so instead of it being this buyer-vendor relationship, it's truly a partnership where where it's in both of our best interests to really be focusing on creating that great experience and focusing on that experience. So the same thing that, Nikki was talking about, being a kid and going to the toy store and really loving picking things up and playing with it and all of that. Like, we're also kind of kids at heart, and that's really what we want to be doing, is picking things up and trying things out. And so our model is really focusing on how can we monetize that amazing experience first, and then how can we build off of that.
And I wanted to add on to what Katrina and Steph said with it talked about it at the beginning as beta testers being our the foundation of what we do, is our beta testers are trained for 2 to 3 months on training on each individual product, and they go through a full training on it. And then not only do they do that, then they go out and they role play with other beta testers, other general managers, and really get that focus and that stuff down, so that they can explain the product in the right way. And the team always is helping each other in case there is a gap in knowledge and a gap in that. And I think that's the huge differentiator when Katrina says it's the training piece. That's really what it looks like, is like I'll have a part-timer there then, and I've trained a few since my store is new, is it's a good 2 months before they're real comfortable. Like we can leave them on the floor on their own, because we want them to have that knowledge to be able to give that right experience to that customer.
I've got one more question, and then sorry guys. How many products do you have in a store, average?
I mean, it varies from store to store. Some markets are going to be very desirable, like San Francisco, obviously, or New York. You know, some of our markets in, you know, smaller areas, like we have one in the suburbs of Chicago and Oak Brook, for example, and Scottsdale. You know, these are kind of second tier, but still have a lot of interest. It just depends on the market and on the size of the store. So we have stores ranging from small, what we call pods, which are small format stores inside of malls, to large scale, you know, retail inlines like our Palo Alto store, which is really big. The size of the capacity of what they can carry can be, again, in a pod as little as like 30 placements, all the way up to, you know, over 100 in some of our bigger ones. And it'll vary, you know, throughout the year too. So, I mean, obviously a lot of partners want to be in before the holidays. And so Q3 is, you know, not surprisingly, like towards the end of Q3 is when a lot of these partners come into beta. But we do have stuff launching, you know, every single month we have new stuff. It just tends to be a very big influx right before Q4, and then a little bit lighter as we head into Q2 as some of those contracts expire. All of the partners that are coming in are signing contracts with us to stay in our stores for a specific amount of time. And their pricing, you know, obviously is worked out with our partnerships team, but they, you know, use factors like how long they're with us, how long their contract time is, how big their placement is. You know, some partners will pay for a 2-foot, you know, placement, maybe something small. And then some partners we've had have done entire experience rooms, you know, so that could take up a much bigger footprint. So all of that just, you know, kind of plays into the pricing as well. But, you know, we've got partners that will stay for sometimes a minimum of 6 to 8 months. But we have lots of partners that have been with us for years, and some that have been with us since the very beginning. Because they just see a lot of value in what we do, despite being in other retailers and still selling online their own product as well.
A few minutes to go. Open to everyone to ask questions here.
Well, we missed the overview.
We kind of got it all, you know, in the questions here, though. Did you have some specific part of the business, Martin, that you were curious about?
Well, what is the smallest city where you have a shop?
Smallest city. I'm going to say it's probably Oak Brook, the one I spoke to. We have stores now all across the country, and we actually have just opened up 2 of our first international location. Well, our first international location in Dubai. And we have Japan online to, Japan was online to start right around the time of all this COVID crisis. So Japan is, you know, a little bit in flux, but is still happening. But these are markets that have, you know, expressed a lot of interest in beta for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. But for example, in Austria, it would be maybe only Graz and Vienna, or so they have maybe 1 million inhabitants.
And I also would say to that point that it depends on the culture and the type of environment that it's going in. So, for example, in San Francisco, both of our stores are what we call storefronts, meaning that they're on the street. So they're in neighborhoods, they're accessible by anybody. But in a lot of our other locations, in most of our other locations, in fact, they're inside of malls. So, a lot of, in the US especially, that is the primary place where people go to shop. And where we see the most amounts of traffic are in malls. So that does then tend to be where we see a lot of our stores appear. In other countries, if malls are not, sort of the congregation place where we see a lot of traffic, it probably would be something that would roll out in a different format.
Okay.
I think if you're going purely by the numbers, our smallest, the smallest city that we're in is Minneapolis, in our Mall of America. Like they're a suburb of Minneapolis, but Mall of America is probably one of the smaller ones, which is a little bit less than 500,000 people, but also a really successful location of ours. So it's not always population that determines success for our stores anyways.
I have a question regarding the whole online retail thing, because it's kind of like an opposition to the online thing. Do you see this type of store being like maybe a showroom for any online retail, like this whole concept about having an experience in a store as the opposition, or like a collaborative with the online retailers that might already have an online empire within some type of markets?
I mean, part of our big value add has always been around gathering metrics as well. And that becomes extremely difficult when you talk about, partnering with somebody else. So our own .com is built up pretty robust to help with that. I mean, obviously, the whole situation in the world now with COVID-19 has really changed the game, and we've had to, do things like Patrick was saying, and trying out things like virtual appointments, doing a lot of stuff we have to do differently. Once things, return to some semblance of normalcy, we're going to have to still continue refining those policies. I'm sure there'll be lots of things in place around social distancing, the amount of people that can be in stores. So when you talk about that kind of stuff, and even, as we're still in shelter in place, things like digital interactions become even more valuable. So our amount of presence and showcases that we do digitally through social media, for example, have gone up like 500% over this time, because we're just like in the store, we're trying to keep the experience personal. We're still trying to make sure that we keep that engagement with the community alive in all of our markets digitally while we can't do it physically.
Yes, thank you.
And if I could add one more thing to that is it's a little bit different, but like I have a product in my store, Rad Bikes, that I know that is one of our top sellers, but we don't sell it in our store, right? All we do is demo the bikes for them. And we get appointments for them. We do them 2, 3, or 4 times a day. I know that they are sold, but Rad Bikes wants those products purchased directly from them. So we are a showcase for their online with it. So we're a place for them to be able to have a consumer try out their product, make sure it's the right one, find which model is right for them, and then they're able to do that as well.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
One more question. And Stefan, thank you for sharing the article. In the chat, I will also pick all this information from the chat and share it with you. Nick, Stefan, Patrick, Kathy, I think was her name, she left us. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Absolutely,
guys.
That was a first. We've met many times in person. I've been at the Santana Row store and the Palo Alto store and the Love to Chase store and of course the Hayes Valley store. So I also love visiting the stores when I'm not with a group. It's the first to have this virtual gathering, virtual get together. I think it worked really well. Thank you so much for setting this up. Thank you so much for the different perspectives and insights. I really enjoyed this. I will connect you with everyone in the room, so you can also take it from here and keep that conversation alive.
That's great, guys.
Thank you. And I know you already have it, but I put my email in the chat just in case anybody has any questions or any further conversations or anything else like that. Feel free